Here we are, deep in the Serengeti forest. We have my co-host here, Matt Marsander, and we're tracking one of the most rarest occurrences in wildlife history. We are tracking the most rare happening that happens in this area in the WWE universe. It is the United States Championship defense. We have to be very quiet here.
I think if you listen carefully, you may hear the footsteps, as it may seek out its hiding place.
Yes. It's been almost extinct over the last couple of months. No one's been able to see one. So we'll have to keep our voices very quiet, or else we will startle the United States title defense, and we won't see it again for another couple of months until it changes hands. Yes.
It's the most bizarre creature. As you see it stand, it acts quite erratically, but it cowers in the face of adversary.
Yeah, it does. It's a beautiful sight to behold. It's very rare, but we're lucky enough to be able to witness it this week on Monday Night Raw. And
is what's best for business.
I gotta go take a big hairy dump.
Oh my God!
Tonight's main event, a tag team match.
Yes. It's about 26.
And welcome to Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. That's quite good to start today, guys. Welcome to the show. My name is Turbo Tony. I'm here with Matt Marsander. That was our little David Attenborough parody there for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that, because we did see one of the most rare occurrences in wrestling history. We saw a United States title defense this week, and we were quite shocked. That was one of the parts of Raw. If you haven't caught this podcast before, what we do is we go through the wrestling news of the week. We also review every segment of Raw, and we'll do a topic at the end if we have enough time. I get the feeling that we might not this week, but if we do, then you'll get that as well. Our topic would be, if we get time, if not, we'll do it next week. It's going to be about full gender equality in professional wrestling. Will we ever see a woman fighting for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the coming years, or the way that wrestling will evolve as from there? We'll go into all those details if we get time this week. If not, we'll definitely get into it next week, with any luck anyway. So apart from that, how are you doing today, Matt? How are you doing?
Can't complain, Tony. Pretty good day today.
Yeah, pretty good. We're actually recording this very early in comparison to what we normally record this. I double booked myself, so it's my fault. I'll let you give me an audible slap on the wrist.
For shame.
For shame, yeah. So, but it just means that you guys get your podcast early, so you guys could be happy about that. It'll probably got some time, almost a day early before it normally goes out. For the guys that subscribed after the last episode, welcome for the long ride. I hope you guys do enjoy it, and thank you very much for subscribing and liking the videos. It does mean a lot, drives us more to make more entertaining videos for you guys. And apart from that, we should probably get on. We've got a big episode planned for this week. Lots of news. Raw this week had a lot to it. Doesn't mean it was particularly better, but it had a lot more meat and bones to it, to stuff to talk about. So
yeah, definitely.
We'll get into that. So in the news this week, anyway, there were lots of name changes. I don't know if you caught this, Matt. A lot of the names were changed on the WWE website, and I think this is the way that they're going to be going forward. The likes of Big E Langston got dropped from the name. He's now known as Big E. That's it. And Antonio Cesaro dropped his first name. He's just known as Cesaro now. Which
I hadn't picked up on this.
Yeah, no, this was something that was going around. They actually made references to it on their own Twitter account, so this is 100% legit. This has happened. And like I said, you can go on the WWE.com website now, and it is actually they actually are listed as their new shortened names. I kind of get why they would do this, because people would know Big E Langston from the Big E part, and you know Antonio Cesaro from the Cesaro part. That's the part that people normally say their names with, so I get what they're doing.
Yeah. I guess it kind of makes sense. But I think it's sort of realising WWE went through a time where it's just like, we won't have gimmicks, we will have everyone by a name.
Yeah.
And a full name at that.
Yeah.
And I think it might just be them just sort of thinking, maybe not.
It does also help Cesaro with his Real Americans gimmick, the fact he's got Antonio as one of his names, as a...
Yeah.
I know it doesn't really help anyway, the fact that, he spoke on this week's Raw and didn't exactly have much of an American accent there, but it doesn't really matter at that point, I guess. But
that's true.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they're doing it because it seems more marketable or profitable. There's a reason behind them doing it, and I would expect more. They're probably going to do a few more in the next couple of weeks and shorten their names down. So yeah, you can expect that. So, in other news, it's kind of quite light-hearted. We know that Jimmy Uso, he got married to Naomi a couple of months ago, I believe. His Jey Uso, the brother or the other Uso, he got married himself this week. Not to anyone involved in wrestling, I believe, just a lucky young woman. And they got married, so now it's turning out to be quite a good year for these guys. They're obviously in the title picture, probably getting the biggest push of their careers.
Oh, definitely right now, yeah.
They both got married in the space of 12 months, so yeah, must be good to be an Uso at the moment. If I was Daddy Rikishi, I'd be quite happy with the way things are going in their lives.
Oh yeah.
So good for them. Good for them. I give them a shake of the hand. Enjoy it. They deserve it with their in-ring performances anyway, to be enjoying their lives in and out of the ring. I believe anyway.
Yeah.
So. We're actually running through this pretty quickly. Christian, well, this is a new one. We know we were doing this segment almost like the last 2 weeks of who is set to leave WWE. First of all, it was CM Punk who walked out. Del Rio last week kind of said that he wasn't going. There's news backstage, and the general consensus that Christian will not be renewing his contract when that expires.
He is 40.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, I do love Christian. I think he's a fantastic in-ring competitor, but he is past his prime, and you don't, especially as they want to be marketing on these younger guys, there's not exactly much time that you can give him on the roster nowadays anyway. I would say that he would be someone perfect to be backstage as like a trainer or an agent or something like that they can use backstage.
Yeah.
But it's really down to what they feel, or what he wants to do, more likely, He may want to distance himself from wrestling. He might want to try to go somewhere else. He's done that. He went to TNA before and had a decent run there when that company wasn't a laughing stock. So, in terms of Christian, as you said, he is 40, and I imagine his body is a bit bruised up after all those TLC matches.
To kick off his career, but also he had quite a brutal match with Orton sort of last year, wasn't it?
There's another one. He took the RKO on the steel steps or something like that.
Yeah.
Really brutal. Edge round about this time had to retire because of the injuries that he had. Maybe it is time for Christian to get away from wrestling and maybe retire, and that way he can save his health and still walk around like Edge can, because he took his fair share of big bumps. Edge was probably more known for taking the big spots, but Christian went through his share of tables and ladders and took a lot of chair shots. So that guy must have not too much time on his body, let alone on his age, in terms of how long he can go for. And I'm always a big advocate for quitting while you're ahead and make sure you can still walk for the rest of your life.
I mean, it's a terrible thing for me to say about Christian, but it's also the fact that he's not... I mean, he's hitting 40, but he's still not, to paraphrase Brodus Clay, a main event player.
Yeah. Which is quite ironic with the whole Brodus Clay thing, because as soon as he came out that main event player gimmick, I haven't actually seen him on Raw, so which is quite ironic.
And he didn't even get a Rumble spot, and he's had no mention. The Funkadactyls have had more TV time than Brodus recently.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, I in terms of Christian, in terms of leaving at least he left a 2-time world champion. So fair enough, and he had his big win over. You remember they had a ladder match with Del Rio, and that's where he won his first heavyweight championship.
Yes.
And some may say he only got the belt because Edge retired and kind of, he took Edge's place. But a world championship reign is a world championship reign. He'll take it, and that'll look good on his CV.
Oh, that's it.
So, we had 2 new movies from WWE Studios were announced this week. We had The Marine 4 with Miz and Summer Rae. Miz was also the star of The Marine 3, which I have seen. Have you seen Marine 3?
I refused to see it.
Refused to see it? Well, I'm going to shock you here. It actually wasn't horrible. It was watchable.
I like that. It wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's not like it was a good film. It wasn't horrible.
If you treat it like a one of those, it is a direct-to-DVD release anyway, and I watched it. And it is, if you just treat it like a really, you go into it thinking it's going to be the worst thing in the world, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, sort of thing. That's the best I can say about it.
I mean, after watching the first Marine, which was terrible, I watched probably about half of the second Marine, which was terrible.
Was that with Mr. Anderson, wasn't it? I'm sure.
Was it?
Oh, no, Ted DiBiase, was it?
Yeah, it was DiBiase.
Yeah.
Mr. Anderson did Behind Enemy Lines Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
And I got about 20 minutes into that. So I have a good track record for WWE movies.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, if it's not See No Evil... I'm trying to think of any of the other good ones.
I didn't actually see No Evil, I must be honest.
Really?
Nah.
Watch See No Evil.
Is it good, yeah?
Yeah.
Good slasher flick, is it? 'Cause,
It is.
I know
And
we're
it's
fans
Kane.
of slasher
It's Kane
flicks.
playing psychopath.
Oh, that's cool. A proper psychopath, not like Candy Cane as he is now. Then, yeah.
Yeah, proper psychopath.
Yeah, so
It was around the time that Kane used to come out with his entrance with the chains and the butcher's hook.
Oh, really? Okay. Bit odd.
So-
Not PG. Okay. So anyway, yeah, Summer Rae is also going to be in that movie, which I guess is good for her. It's not going to damage her and it's not going to damage The Miz really. And we'll see how it goes there. The other one is a little bit odd. They're doing Jingle All the Way 2, the sequel from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from God knows how many years ago, and it will star Santino Marella, which could be so horrible it might be worth watching, sort of thing. Like,
I'm just thinking like Bad Santa with Goldberg.
Who was Evil Santa?
Yeah.
Demonic Santa. Yeah. You said you actually watched that though, didn't you?
I did watch that.
Oh dear.
That was awful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can only see a Jingle All the Way remake with Santino Marella.
Yeah. Well, it's not a remake; it's a sequel. I don't understand how it could be a sequel. I think it's just a sequel in name only, a sort of thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger's not going to be in it, of course.
Santino, get out of here!
Now, this could either go one or two ways. Like I said, it could be so awful it's funny, or it could just be an hour, like 90 minutes of a Santino Marella promo, that we get on Raw. In which case, it will probably be just abysmal. So,
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes there anyway. But at least he's getting a movie, Santino. At least he's actually doing something with him.
Oh, that's it. Well, he's not doing anything in the ring right about now. So.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's our news from the week. The major news stories, if they were, the most interesting ones that popped out to me. A little bit more this week than there was last week, which was barren. There was just nothing going on.
Hello?
Yeah.
News? No news.
No news. So yeah, this week was a little bit more interesting anyway. Next week, you can leave a comment to who you think will be leaving WWE, because it seems to be every single week there's a
trend
new
at the
person
moment.
expected to leave, which I guess is kind of, I kind of understand, considering how many just wrestlers they have on their books, kind of makes sense, I guess. But,
Yeah.
So, just before we get into the show, there was actually a big thing. I want to put this in between the news and Raw because it took place on Raw. There was a lot of CM Punk chants before the show, and there was a recording done of the announcers speaking before the show started.
I sent you this video, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were very, very irked with the fact there was lots of CM Punk chants. I think Michael Cole was saying stuff like, "Oh, why don't you chant go away, go away?" They seemed very unhappy with the chants going along, which you can obviously understand WWE would be. They don't want this guy. I mean, they've removed him from the opening credits of the show now, Punk. Like his part where he was in the opening, the opening video package when it comes up, he's been removed from that now, and Kane has been put in that place. And there's just a few other stuff like that CM Punk's been removed from. He's not even on stuff like the Power 25, when he only stopped wrestling like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that's another interesting fact, that a lot of people still think this is a work. I do expect CM Punk to come back, I do, because I don't think he can go that long while on contract and not at least make an appearance. And I don't think WWE wanted this to get ugly with him, because he's the kind of guy that can make it go bad with him. So
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I do expect him back. Now, whether that's before WrestleMania or after, I think he's left it too late now in order to be put into WrestleMania, which I think is part of his problem. But listen, I know that these guys want CM Punk back and everything like that, all these fans and everything, but I mean, we said before that CM Punk was the guy who chose to walk out in WWE while he was in contract. I know WWE you can always point the finger at WWE and say, you didn't book this guy right, you forced him out of the door. But while he's on contract, he has a contractual obligation to wrestle for that company, and he's breaking said contract. So if you've got a problem with him doing that, then it's not WWE's fault, it is CM Punk's fault, and you should take your qualms up with him directly.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't chant at WWE, because obviously they would want CM Punk back. There's a lot of money to be made with him, but they obviously can't change it. They're not going to give him a better deal because he's already in contract. That's the way it goes. So enough of that anyway. I think we went into a lot of that last week anyway. I just wanted to make reference that CM Punk chants at these house shows aren't going to help anyone really, least of all CM Punk. So the whole theme of this show was kind of built, well, not really built around. It was a lot of it was around Betty White being the guest host of this week's Raw. Which I kind of don't know why. She was promoting a show, but we never saw any clips of the show. So in terms of plugging a show, it was quite poor in that sense. I mean, just for instance, Matt, do you know the name of the show that she was plugging? From watching Raw? I think that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Oh, something.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm getting at, though. It was a poor plug. I don't know the name of the show from watching it. If you're going to plug a show, then you at least show a little bit of it. Or I know they referenced it, but it wasn't enough to keep me wanting to see, what was this about? So, in terms of advertising, her show didn't do that well. But anyway, she did start up the show with Big Show as her valet, which seems like a fall of grace from a guy who main evented Survivor Series.
Again.
Yeah.
It's not the first fall from grace that Big Show's had.
yeah. He loses his push as quickly as he gets them sometimes. Big Show. So this was the enormity of his existence on Raw this week, was literally just to help Betty out to the ring. And he must be the world's largest escort. Maybe not go into that. Betty White tells us that she's going to kick some ass and gets a big pop. She got well received, which is good because I don't want to see like a 90-year-old woman get fucking booed. That's not exactly what I want to see. So at least she got a nice reception, and they were hot for Betty White. This crowd.
That's it.
Were you of the same demographic? Were you hot for Betty White? No.
I can safely say I was not. It didn't really matter. I didn't care so much.
Yeah, I was under the same sort of thing. Betty White isn't as big over here as it is as she is in America, I guess. So it's not as much of a thing. Like if we were we would say some people over here that would be our Betty White, but you wouldn't know who they are in America. It's just the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens that way. But I understand that obviously she has a following in America. She did get a nice big pop. So the Authority comes out anyway after that, and gives Betty White a good old hug and everything to show, how happy they are that she's there. And we get pretty much the same old promo that we've had from them for the last couple of weeks, which I'm starting to get very bored with. And this was complete when Randy Orton came out to interfere with that segment.
Yeah.
We've seen this a lot. This whole sort of theme of them coming out, starting the show, and then having Randy Orton come out wherever he interferes, and then all gets introduced by them. It's getting a little bit dire at this point, just having them come out and do this.
I was just like, it was just like, oh, what a surprise. But you get whiny Orton. I was like... Yeah.
Well, this time he was apologising for apparently being immature. And
then he still whined.
Yeah, exactly. They seem to go around this, like I said, they want to try and build up the fact that the Authority hasn't got their thing in Randy Orton, and eventually when the time comes that it looks like they're going to screw him out, they'll help him. That's the way the storyline will go, if they do go with that. But, this whole segment was pretty sort of, I mean, one of the things that I'm quite critical about another wrestler later on in the show is that sometimes Randy Orton decides he's going to do a decent enough promo where it doesn't sound as if he's running off lines. This was not one of them. He did sound as if he was just going.
Oh yeah, basis. Definitely.
And it's very hard to sort of get behind this guy or even be invested in what he's saying when that's the point. And I mean, Stephanie McMahon is just as bad for that as well. So I'm not just saying that it's just Orton. There's a few wrestlers on the show that don't deliver promos in that well. However, one of them who does do that sometimes, Daniel Bryan. I'm a big fan of Daniel Bryan, as you all know, but sometimes his promos come out a little bit wooden. This week he did not. He came out and he came out very on fire, much more than his character normally is. And he was quite entertaining as this guy. He was basically, well, I wouldn't like say throwing his weight around, but he wasn't just making odd jokes and everything. He was being quite assertive, and he wanted a match with Kane, he wanted a match with Kane that night. And Triple H responded by basically saying that you're not going to get anything. This is before, as he called Stephanie arrogant and Triple H stupid. I don't really blame his character for calling them that, considering Triple H has ignored the fan response about Daniel Bryan all this time, which is pretty damn stupid in my opinion.
It's just, they don't even ignore it. It's just like everyone's making a yes chant. It's like, oh, Randy, is it because everyone's chanting yes, and as a result, everyone's just like, yeah, and that's all the mention you get. It's just like, nope, nothing else.
So yeah, one of the good things I did like about Daniel Bryan though is that he referenced the infamous kissing segment with Randy and Stephanie and Triple H.
That's it. I was just sort of like how can you sort of follow when you had that sort of story? I was just like, ooh.
We did say that Stephanie seemed very hot for Orton the last couple of weeks. When remember when Orton came out and said that he was their president, he was wrapped in a golden bow, and Stephanie looked as if like Orton had just cured cancer. She was almost in tears at the present that she received. So maybe there's a little bit of sexual tension there between the characters.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to get a John Morrison Batista moment.
Yeah, less said about that the better, I think. But yeah, it did seem a bit odd. And when they said that, Triple H sidestepped it very quickly. But I like the fact that he referenced that. I thought it was very good that he did. And so yeah, Triple H responded with the whole thing by giving Bryan the night off, in which case it got the desired response because the fans obviously were very outraged the fact that he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, that's it.
I knew we'd get a little bit of Bryan fighting later on, and everything, which was fine. But
unless they actually show the video, like, oh, this is the video about back. Oh, there's Bryan getting in the car.
Yeah,
cool.
That's it. So like this segment where Bryan, this whole segment where Bryan was involved was good, but anything outside of that was a little bit below average, I believe. I'm getting really tired of the Authority and Orton kicking off all the shows. I do like the fact that the champion kicks off shows, but I think you should only do that if they're actually really gifted in promos, which I don't think that Orton particularly is. Are you on the same consensus?
That's definitely true. I think it's like you say, sort of like Orton's like a real hit and miss with promos. Like sometimes he can just drop the best ones, but then sometimes it's just like, yeah, Orton, we can see the lines written on your hand.
Yeah. It seems to, like, sometimes you just get, like, when it's out of the normity, and you just suddenly you see, oh, right, actually Orton's showing a bit of signs of improvement here, but then next week it goes exactly staying back to the way he's used to be.
That's it, yeah.
He's got a reputation now of being, well, almost boring people to tears.
Yeah, he's like a promo yo-yo.
Exactly, yeah. And the thing is with that yo-yo, he's more than often over the side of boring rather than entertaining. That's the problem with Orton. But yeah, that whole segment, like I said, I'm a big fan. Anyone who's listened to this podcast before knows that I'm a big fan of having shows start off with matches rather than segments. And this segment did take a long chunk out of the show, so
definitely took its time to get going.
If it didn't have Daniel Bryan in this, then they could have really just like shut up shop with the fans right at the start without actually giving them a chance to really get their voice heard. Yeah. But it was fine. Daniel Bryan was good, so that's fine. And just for everyone to know, I know everyone's really hot on Daniel Bryan and stuff. We're still critical of the guy. I think he still needs to improve on his promos, but he is the hottest property that they have at the moment. So,
definitely. So what I was saying, it's like we're reconsidering everyone. It's like, just shut up.
Yeah, we know how this storyline's going to go. So
yeah.
So the first match of the night was the Brotherhood and Rey Mysterio against the Wyatt family. This is another sort of set of six-man tag matches that they're having to set up the mother of all six-man tag matches at the Elimination Chamber, where the Wyatts will go against the Shield.
That's it.
This is another decent one. This is much better than the Brotherhood was subjected to the match last week. We were heavily critical of their cage match last week. This wasn't as bad. In fact, this was very, very good. It wasn't the best six-tag match that the Wyatts or the Brotherhood had, but it's still good. It's still fine. The one great thing about this match was right at the end, where Daniel Wyatt, sorry, I'm still thinking that Daniel Bryan's part of the Wyatts, no. Bray Wyatt, right at the end, basically sneaky tags in and catches Rey Mysterio with an absolutely destruction of a Sister Abigail, which...
Oh yeah, that was like a real sort of quick tag and a catch sort of thing.
It was a really electric way to finish this match, and it's worth watching that match alone just for that ending. And it was so quick, and for a big guy that Bray Wyatt is, when he wants to move quick, he can move bloody quick. He really can.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's like Brock Lesnar. If you remember that segment that Brock Lesnar had, this is months ago now, but I think there was someone running away from him, and like he's in the ring at one point, and literally a second later he's outside the ring just close up. You're like, fucking hell, this guy.
Before you know it, there he is. Yeah,
a big guy that can really go quick. So, he's one of those guys. And like I said, the match itself was good, and it had like a really kind of awesome ending where all these guys were going down, and then Bray Wyatt just delivered that absolutely savage Sister Abigail, which is really, really good. And then he did a promo at the end of this match, which we're sort of used to from Bray Wyatt. But the reason why I made a reference to this promo is because he hinted at the feud after their match with the Shield. He said, once this is over, I can't remember the exact words, but he does reference the fact that there's something they want to do after their fight with the Shield, and he referenced that in this promo.
It's sort of like, this isn't the end, like, to take out the Shield wouldn't be the end of us, sort of thing.
And obviously they still have their feud with Cena, which is basically on pause while they go against the Shield, and I believe they'll just go back to that once they go for that. I'm really looking forward to Wyatt's promo on John Cena, because there's a lot of stuff that a guy can talk about when it comes to John Cena, especially in his own unique way. He won't rip on him the way that The Rock does, but it's going to be just as entertaining for fans like us, because he's going to be just as cryptic and weird, and I don't think Cena's going to stand up to Wyatt when it comes to promos, personally.
No.
He's definitely not going to try. Definitely not going to. If he rages out and tries to get all scary as John Cena likes to do, he's not going to out scary Bray Wyatt. There is no way that's going to happen.
It's just like,
They showed a promo after this match of Roman Reigns and his performance at the Royal Rumble.
His Rumble montage, yeah.
It made him look like $1 million, which he's been doing very well from himself the last couple of months anyway. He's done very well. He's improved so well, I think, Roman Reigns as a wrestler and as a person on the mic and as a personality.
As a character, yeah.
So you can say that for that. But one of the things that it did, the reason I like this promo, like, this was just a short video package, but the reason why I made reference to this is because it reminded us of the issues that the Shield has with each other at the moment.
Yes, with the fact that Amber has attempted the elimination of Reigns.
I like the fact that they're doing this because you know that the Shield are going to have their implosion probably around about Elimination Chamber, and then I think they're probably going to build up to maybe a triple threat match at Mania, which I think is the logical way to go around it, especially as the group is, they will break up. So
yeah.
So
there's still been no talk of this Mason Ryan coming in to take the Roman Reigns' spot.
If they do that, I
think WWE have accepted this. Like, it's either sort of all three or bust.
I think even if you put Mason Ryan in there, I think it still is bust. Personally, I think you're basically doing a new Nexus on it, where it's not going to be as good as it used to be, and you've got a certain amount of time before it just gets a bit stupid. And I think that there's not a lot of time.
Yeah,
which will look bad on Mason Ryan if that is the case. The fact that he's been in two factions that have been strong, and then as soon as he's come into them, they basically dissipated. Doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But that little promo I thought was pretty good. You're gonna see more of this stuff, trying to build up Roman Reigns to be the next big thing, and rightly so. I think there's a lot of money to be made from Roman Reigns. Backstage promo with the Shield after this. This is kind of that small video package built up to that. Roman Reigns made a few wombs tremble with his baby girl statement here.
Yeah, I was really shocked with that. I was like, baby girl. It's like, oh, Roman, what are you doing?
So I'm sure that made Renee Young's knees tremble a little bit, and why not? There was a few memes made of that, actually. The whole new, because I know that it's got the Ryan Gosling memes and stuff like that. Now it's the Roman Reigns one with the Hey Girl and Baby Girl and stuff like this. So
really, I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, no, they've been around. I've seen a few. He. With that and as well and stuff that he says throughout the show, this is the most face we've seen Roman Reigns. You think of a couple of months ago, he probably wouldn't have said stuff like that. Something nice to Renee Young. He probably would have said, "Why are you wasting my time?" Or something. He's going to get more face as time goes on, and that makes sense. But the promo alludes to the fact that Dean Ambrose hasn't defended his US title, which we parodied earlier on in the show, and he hasn't defended it I can't even remember the last time he defended it personally. Can you remember his last title defense?
October?
You think? Okay, I've got no clue, so I'm gonna have to go by what
I think it's because I think I read it somewhere that like Dean Ambrose hasn't defended since October. I was just like, that's a long time.
That's 4 months if that's the case.
Yeah.
Which I think is ironic, considering it's supposed to be like a 30-day. If you don't defend it within 30 days, you relinquish it, which is quite ironic. But
do they still have that?
I don't know. They like to pick and choose their rules where it counts, so they.
Yeah, we'll see how the story goes, sort of thing.
I mean,
it's he's currently the longest holding champion in WWE at the moment. It's just like, yeah.
You can
Not
probably count
really.
on one hand how many times he's actually defended
Defended it, yeah.
which just shows how much faith they have in those belts. They should probably unify that with the Intercontinental and just be done with it. So
I think Big E's defended the Intercontinental more.
Big E's actually set for I think he has, and he's actually set to defend it at the Elimination Chamber against Jack Swagger. So he is actually going to have a match. Yeah, so that's going to be.
Where'd that come from?
I just saw it before I came on to do the podcast. I guess it was from SmackDown.
SmackDown,
So Reigns basically sort of taunts Ambrose into giving a free challenge for the belt. He says, "What kind of champion do you want to be?" And Ambrose did not like the sentiment. He said he'll do an open challenge, and that set up his match for later on. So there was actually like I said, there was a defense of the title on this show.
I know.
A rare occurrence. Set your
A
DVRs.
magical, yeah, it's such a magical moment.
Yeah, and record it because it may not happen again for another 4 months. We don't know. I thought personally that Reigns was going to be the one that challenges him, but it wasn't. But we'll talk about that when that match comes up.
Yeah.
We had another segment with Becky White. She was talking to the Divas. I thought that this just seemed very, very reminiscent of Mae Young calling them bitches and sluts. But we had no such brilliance.
Did you like the picture that I sent you, actually, with regards to this?
Yeah.
There's enough memes going around. Everyone who even looks at Facebook who is a fan of wrestling will have seen it somewhere. But it's just the one of just like Eva Marie. It's like, oh my God, Mae Young, I thought you were dead. Something like that. It's like, you're looking really well for yourself. It's just like, oh, I just wish Eva Marie would fuck off.
Yeah. All I can think of, which I guess is just me just still being sad that Mae Young's no longer with us, is that her
She does look like Mae Young.
She does a little bit, but no. What I'm saying is that Mae Young I wish that she was around to be in these segments rather than Betty White, just personally, because I miss the woman, and she was very, very funny. But yeah, she was talking to the Divas. The New Age Outlaws came in and basically offered her some tea. So
that's actually one thing that I mean. It's me and the girlfriend were sort of like, oh, it's a very British thing, isn't it? It's like, take the old lady away. Would you like a cup of tea?
A cup of nice tea. So yeah, and it seemed like Road Dogg knew his teas, so he's got some some experience in that, and it sets up their segment for later on anyway. Which is fair enough. The first of several video packages for Cena and Orton matches back in the day were put up. They were basically trying to build their match in the main event as the end of their rivalry and stuff like this, and be the huge change in WWE.
I didn't see it as selling the rivalry to me.
No.
I was just looking at it. I was just like, oh, I remember all this.
The first match that they showed was the Breaking Point match that they had, the I Quit match.
Yeah, that was
back when this match aired. I mean, this was a long time ago. I was living in. I don't know if I was living there. If anyone doesn't know, I live in a different country to Matt. I live in Ireland. He lives in England. But I was in England to watch this anyway.
Yes.
And my wife, she was watching it in Ireland, and we were talking to each other as it was going on. And she was a big fan of Cena back then. She was, she really liked Cena. Cena was really big at that. Well, he's big now, I guess. But to a general wrestling fan, she was a general wrestling fan. She didn't see what I saw was wrong with Cena, and I didn't want to just break her bubble for it. So she liked Cena. Until this match happened, and she just
no. That wasn't it the Iron Man match that
it was
because he went through the Titantron and still came back to win.
No, it was this match because I remember talking to her while it was happening because she was getting beaten up and he was like trembling, he was shaking with the amount of pain that he had, and it was a good 20-25 minutes of him just getting wailed on by Orton, looking like he was handcuffed, in and out. And then just at the end, he just kind of gets up, one hit kills Orton, and then gets the win with the STF. So that was the match. I know that that the Cena love went down to my wife. So that finished, and I could finally love her for what she truly was. Anyway, so that the idea, however, that this is going to be the last match that they have is kind of funny because I know WWE will give us Orton and Cena again. They really can't help themselves.
That's
this is not the last Cena Orton match you will have. They will more likely have another set of matches in the future, which will be just as boring as the rest of them. So we had another match finally. There was a lot of video packages on the show, not many matches, but there was this one, Santino against Fandango.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was this was like last week. This was a throwaway match.
It was. It didn't last long enough to be kind of considered anything else but a throwaway match, wasn't it? Really. And The Miz came out again and basically just wailed on the guys on the mic and then left as he did last week, which I guess is setting up his character. At least they're going through with doing this sort of program with him coming out and making his grievances known.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why aren't I in a match? Like, oh, we've got Twinkle Toes and like a guy whose gimmick's older than Betty White, sort of thing. It's just like, go away, Miz. Yeah. Just go away. Like, I'd probably care more if it was like a superstar that I gave a shit about. I care about the Miz. Like, oh, I main evented WrestleMania, and you will never do that again.
Yeah, exactly. He was a body for WrestleMania. Like, WWE didn't care who that body was; it just happened to be Miz. So, but anyway, at least they're doing something with the guy. I don't hate Miz. I mean, I dislike him a lot because his recent performances and rivalries have just been absolutely shockingly boring.
Yeah.
But that's just as fault as Kofi Kingston is his, I guess. So you can do something with him. There's something to The Miz, but you have to book it right, and he's not exactly a guy. He's a guy that can very easily come off as. He's a fine line with The Miz. He's either going to be entertaining or he's just going to be just shockingly bad. And I think you have to be careful which line that you cross with that guy, because you could very easily just sway from side to side. But in terms of this match, Fandango gets the victory. I swear that top rope leg drop is going to tear his hamstring one day, and you'll never see that finisher again. You'll get.
I don't know if it's the top, but it's like the one thing that I was always taught, like in wrestling, was just like, if you're going to do like a leg drop or anything like that, you don't put your hands down because you're just going to break because one of these days you'll break your ankle, break your wrist. Sorry. And like, the amount of height that Fandango gets, it's like hand down. It's like, you'll draw.
He only has to miss that once, and it's gonna fuck him up. It really. You could snap your wrist. You could tear his hamstring, because the way he lands it, he doesn't. Just the way he lands it just looks awkward. It doesn't look bad. It looks spectacular, actually, the way he does it. But in terms of from watching guys do that move, there's a lot that can go wrong. You look at Hulk Hogan, who's doing
just wait for his tailbone to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Hulk Hogan, like, his leg and fucking spine is fucked from doing that move so long in his career. Like, just doing that was just doing a standing leg drop. This guy's doing top rope leg drops as a finisher. So yeah, I think there's going to be one injury.
I mean, I understand that it's like, oh, but it is his finisher. But it's like, yeah. But how often do we see Fandango hit a finisher?
Yeah, but that's the one shining point of that, I guess, that he very rarely wrestles. And when he does wrestle, they're not very long matches, are they, really? I think his longest match he's ever had was against Chris Jericho at Mania.
Yeah.
So that was his debut match, and he hasn't exactly had any epics from that, and that wasn't exactly a very, very long match in itself. But so the only one thing, I guess, with this is that Emma was brought out, and there was no interaction between Emma and Summer Rae. So that was pretty much no real use.
Wasted.
I know they want to try and build up to an Emma and Summer Rae match, but if they were, then this did little, if not nothing, to that. And for the record, for people, we were very critical of the not her performance last week, but of WWE's booking of her using her gimmick from NXT. I still think it can work. I just think that the way that they're doing it won't work, and I think it will fail very quickly. So I think that Emma's still got a chance, more than a chance. I think she with her in-ring ability, there's a lot of chance that fans will get behind her, but you have to show that part of her character off first of all.
Yeah, that's it.
Because so far all she is just a woman that came out and danced and then managed Santino.
She does like the pokey hands.
Exactly. So you've got to give fans something else, and to give them a legitimate female wrestler in the ring, they'll get behind that very quickly. Yeah. So Byron Saxton, of which I've never seen before, I guess he does a lot of stuff on NXT, interviewed Sheamus, and this reminded me a lot of the reasons why I disliked Sheamus before he was injured. For a guy, we like I said, we were very critical of Orton before running off lines. Sheamus does that a lot as well. He just runs through a lot of stuff, and he will have a lot of words in his promo, and he'll just go bang, 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 bang all the way through. And what I found in this is that as well. I mean, some people may say this is me being critical, but I mean, I did drama studies when I was younger, so maybe I'm a little bit more critical than most. But he kind of gets too far ahead of himself, and then when he's trying to do one of his big jokes, he has to kind of backtrack a little bit in his vocals, so it comes off looking a little bit bleh, personally. But were you under the same thought, or did you find it a little bit more entertaining than I did?
I quite enjoyed Sheamus' promo.
Yeah,
I quite enjoy Sheamus' promos as it is.
I don't. I think they're very
I know
cool.
you don't.
Maybe it's because I live in Ireland, and maybe because I'm around a lot of Irish people, the allure is gone. Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, or maybe it's the fact that you live in the other capital rather than Dublin.
Dublin, yeah, that's it. There's a big rivalry between Cork and Dublin, so my wife does not like Sheamus because he sounds like he's from Dublin, and he is from Dublin, so she doesn't like him. And I like the guy. I think he's a great wrestler. I think he can get some really good matches out. I just think his promo skills are really poor. I think he tries to do better than what he can actually do, personally. But we will disagree as we do often time to time on that particular segment. But he did have a match afterwards, Sheamus and Christian against the Real Americans. There was no Zeb Coulter sign this week, which I was very sad of. But you did get a promo, so I think we get one or other. I think that's the general rule when it comes to Zeb Coulter.
Yeah.
We either
if he's not going to get mic time, he'll get a sign.
Yeah, which is cool. A great promo. I mean, you might say, "Oh, but Tony, you ragged on the Authority and Randy Orton for doing the same old thing." Yeah, but if you're good at promo skills, it doesn't matter if you do the same promo twice. You can make it seem very entertaining regardless. And
That's it.
It's the same thing. Paul Heyman probably came out during the whole CM Punk rivalry and did the same promo 10 times, but it was still entertaining because of the way he delivered it. Yes, I thought this was really good, where he was basically saying that they were sneaking across the borders and stuff. And Antonio Cesaro got a little bit of time on the mic as well, which I think is good because they're trying to build him up towards the Elimination Chamber match. I think Cesaro is going to be one of the most entertaining guys in that chamber. The stuff.
Well, they're definitely building Cesaro because, I don't know if you've seen some of the results for SmackDown, but Randy Orton's gauntlet. Cesaro won.
Yeah, well, he's been losing a lot of his matches, hasn't he? I think he only beat Christian
so far
in this gauntlet. Cesaro is a guy who, like we said before, yeah, he's not particularly great on the mic. He's not bad either. I think he gets a lot worse stick than he does on the mic than he is. I think he's okay. But in the ring, he can tell a story in there, so he's fine. I think that he can pull out some really great matches. He lets his ring work do the talking for him. And there's so much stuff you can do with this guy. He's just scarily strong, and the amount of spots you could do with him are just phenomenal.
Oh, no.
But the match itself was okay. It was quite decent. There was some good wrestling to be seen here. Christian was back, and he was doing his thing, doing some good wrestling.
I liked his little video promo.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm a bit beat up, but do you want this on a poster? I was just like, loved it.
So when it comes to Christian matches, like I said, there's not many more you're going to get of them. So it's quite good to see him in the ring, regardless. Anyway, and like I said, Christian's okay on the mic. He can pull off good promos when they want to. They seem to be going back to these. Actually, I don't know if you noticed that. They seem to be doing more and more of those black screen promos in the middle of matches that they used to do back in the 80s. You used to have that a lot when
they sort of touched those.
We'll
touch on them a bit more recently.
Yeah,
it's good. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I think it's a good throw. It reminds me of like I said, back in that eras where you used to have that almost every entrance you'd have a promo with a little box in the bottom right corner of some guy talking over the entrance and saying why he was going to beat up the other guy. I like it personally, but it's a good way of having guys have free promos without taking time out of your show if you really want to. So I think they should go back to that. So yeah, the match itself was pretty good. It wasn't anything special, like you wouldn't go out of your way to watch it, but it was okay. It was decent enough to watch.
Oh, it got real physical between Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah, that was quite fun.
That was stiff.
I think the more they get with that as well, I think that's the sort of wrestling fans want to see.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why everyone's behind Bryan is because he wrestles like that. His kicks and everything look like they really fucking hurt, and they really have impact. So.
Yeah.
I think that's the way they have to go in terms of the wrestling style. And you can't get much more physical, really, I guess, than Cesaro and Sheamus just wailing on each other.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is, the moment that the match sort of kicked off, I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen. Swagger's going to lose. Swagger's going to get pinned.
Yeah, Swagger will be the one that gets pinned.
And lo and behold, there we go.
A bro kick from, well, I wouldn't like to say out of nowhere. I knew it was coming, but Swagger gets beaten. And Cesaro's been treated quite nicely, I guess, in this tag teams. Whenever they do get beaten, 9 times out of 10 it is Swagger who gets pinned, and if they win, 9 times out of 10 it's Cesaro who gets the win. So that's the way it normally goes with that tag team. So yeah, they get the win there, and this was like I said, this match has. I'm a big I'm very critical of matches when they put them together that don't have much sense, where they've got like no rivalry building up and they just put it there for no reason, which WWE do a lot. But it kind of makes sense to have these four guys fight it out because they're both in they're all in the elimination chamber.
No, they're not. Bar Swagger.
But you know, I mean that. You could have a tag team match quite easily because obviously Cesaro's already in a tag team, so it makes sense. Yeah. So with this match, in terms of it being booked on the show, I guess it was booked.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Booked correctly, which is not exactly a segment that a lot of fans like to put with WWE, but I believe they did book that correctly. John Cena was backstage with Renee Young, who probably was still trembling from Reigns' smooth words. Cena said that in the last 10 years, WWE has been dominated by Randy Orton and himself. Which is kind of the point why we don't want to see another match with these guys. We've been seeing matches with them for 10 years. I think we know this sort of the thing right now. One thing that he does often, and he did on this, is that he name dropped Daniel Bryan once again, and it won't be the last time that he does that if Bryan keeps getting bigger fan responses than himself. So
yeah, that's true.
Expect that a lot. One of the things that Cena does a lot is that if there's someone being hot, he did this with CM Punk when CM Punk was getting huge. He would reference CM Punk a lot in his promos because he wants that. It's good promo, I guess. It's a way to get fans to pop for you very easily, but it just comes off to the hardcore wrestling fans as, oh, you're name dropping him to try and get this, and it's just, you know, they're not going to take it very well. But it's good promo, I guess. But yeah, it won't be the last time that he references Bryan, or if anyone else gets huge. If Roman Reigns gets huge,
he was like, "This is the last ever. Like today, we close the rivalry, and I don't care. What's, you know, like I'm going to go all out." And it's just like, shut up, John.
Yeah,
we've heard it before.
When we
it's time for Cena versus Orton 276.
I would actually like a counter to see how many times those guys have wrestled each other, including their house shows. They must have wrestled each other just a stupid amount of times at this point. But yeah, they're kind of trying to build up. This is the final chapter, but I'm under no illusions. We'll see another Cena Orton match. This is WWE can't help themselves. They will give us that match again. So that promo was.
That's another reason why we need brands back.
So these guys are just split up and they can't. So
we could just send Orton off to SmackDown and we'll never have to see the two of them wrestle again.
Yeah, that's it. But I think that what's strange as well, I understand why they don't do brands and stuff, because you know, if one brand's doing badly, then you need to start merging them together anyway, and they don't want to split up their talent too much. But they've got more talent now than they ever had, so it kind of makes a little bit of sense to do it now. It
kind of goes on to the oversaturation topic the other week.
Yeah, it does, and it make more reason for us to watch SmackDown. It would, but the way is that now. The reason why we don't watch SmackDown, for people that are new to the well, sometimes I'll watch it, but the reason why we don't review it is because often the stuff on SmackDown would either get redone on Raw. We've seen a lot of matches that happen on SmackDown but get redone on Raw, or any of the segments that are done there, they're done to set up what's going to happen on Raw. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
I see SmackDown as, it is a B show, but it's done as like a build-up show to Raw the next week and stuff. So
yeah,
not always. Sometimes the shows can be very pivotal. There's a lot of stuff on the shows that will be interesting and kind of, you know, have their own reasons for being there. But you know, the normality is that that's the way SmackDown's booked. So Ziggler and Del Rio had a match. He was basically fed to Del Rio. This is a really quick match that they had.
It's terrible. I love the. I say terrible. I did like that little quick sequence with Ziggler.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like that sort of sort of tilt-a-whirl reversal into the Famouser sort of thing. That was really good. I liked that.
Yeah, he's good in the ring.
So then it was just like, now it's over. You're kicked in the head.
We know Del Rio and Ziggler can do better. They have done better when they get time, but obviously they just did not have a lot of time to do a match. So yeah, quick kick in the head for Ziggler.
Del Rio had to go through a table, so he had other things.
Exactly, yeah. Just alluding to that Batista did come out. He attacked Del Rio after there. He must have remembered why he had a problem with Del Rio. Maybe he went back and checked his Twitter history.
Checked his Twitter history, or just for the simple fact he just remembered getting punched by Del Rio the week before.
Yeah, exactly. So Batista comes out, attacks Del Rio, and eventually Batista bombs him through the table. Mm-hmm. There were quite a few boos this week for Batista, but they are dissipating. They're not as much as each week as goes past, and not all arenas will give him that same response.
Yeah, so, that's true.
That's fine, I guess.
No bad thing. I did quite like how JBL referred to the fact that they needed, like, why can't the Spanish announce table be on Raw?
Yeah. I like JBL because he makes those sort of references every now and then, so he's quite good for that.
That's it.
WWE hope that this fan response for Batista will dissipate soon. Obviously, they are hoping. I'm quite sure that it will. The fans are still a little bit hurt at the fact that he won the Royal Rumble. The worst thing that can happen for WWE is that they don't put Bryan in that main event title match, and Randy Orton against Batista just gets shit on, which is quite likely. The fans may turn on that match, and if they give that match too much time as the main event of WrestleMania, that could be a really bad ending to your biggest pay-per-view of the year and the first one to be on the WWE network. So they have to be careful how they book around this now. Otherwise, the fans will.
I don't know. I can see it turning into. I mean, I'll reserve judgment until after Elimination Chamber, but I am sort of slowly waning towards. I reckon it'll be a triple threat.
I get that feeling as well, but the way that obviously they're booking it, maybe they don't have to have a Triple H match at WrestleMania. They don't. So you could have it that maybe Daniel Bryan defeats the Authority before WrestleMania and then gets his shot in rather than facing Triple H at WrestleMania. You can't do that. But this match can be really risky. I mean, you look, the fans turned on Cena and Orton very, very quickly. Just because Batista and Orton is a newer match, we haven't seen that in a long time, doesn't mean that the fans won't turn on them. They could. And as we said before, Randy Orton is the one common denominator in all these matches that the fans have turned on them on. And guess who's headlining WrestleMania? Randy Orton. He will win at the Elimination Chamber. So or if he does lose, it will be to Bryan. I don't know, and then it'll obviously be him getting his rematch at WrestleMania. That's another way they could go about it. But he'll be in that match regardless. So backstage, Batista, he talked to Triple H. It was a small segment with these guys. And Triple H asked him to not go as mental as he just did. Batista says things have definitely changed, and he walks off. I'm sure there will be a lot more interaction between Batista and Triple H closer to Mania, when obviously they're going to build up towards that big match, regardless of who's going to be in it. Triple H does finally announce that match. We knew it was going to happen, Batista and Del Rio at Elimination Chamber. And as I said last week, I don't think Batista's ready to go against Del Rio. I think he's going to blow up really quickly, unless this is a quick match.
Yeah, well, I guess it's just a matter of time. I mean, it could just be like just cleverly set up. Like Batista's been down, sort of like NXT, just going through the gyms and that over there. So they've got all the rings set up. So he might be working on getting his stamina back up again.
Or they might just do this match where it may be like almost like a full squash match where he gets beaten down really early in the match and then like he gets a late surge, does all of his stuff. So you could take a lot of bumps, a lot of like submission holds, take a lot of time. That way it's not as rough on his body. In terms of cardio wise, sometimes it's the more moves that you do, the more you're lifting up your opponent. I mean, Del Rio's not a big guy. That's where you can get tanked out a lot. But if you're taking small bumps or getting looked and holds, you're not losing a lot of your stamina. So they might build a match around that. But we may see just how ring ready he was. If he's in the same shape he was going into the Rumble, this could be really, really embarrassing for Batista. But I don't think he's the sort of guy personally. I don't think he's a guy that enjoys looking bad on camera. So I think he may have seen that already and he's trying to amend that part of his game. So
probably just work his arse off.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, a lot of people could stick to Batista, but he isn't afraid of working hard to get better at something. So and all this fan response against Batista, I do get that fans are upset that his part-time is coming in, but he showed up every week on Raw since he's returned, and I think he will do until he leaves. So he's not like The Rock. He's not going to come in and then show up every second Raw and then leave after a couple of months. So I think they should give him a little bit more respect in that sense, because he's not that part-time if you think about it. He's just returned and he's been on Raw every week since then. So Lita was announced as the new Hall of Fame inductee.
Damn straight.
Well deserved. If Trish goes in, Lita goes in. That's pretty much the rule. I think that has to go in there. I think when I think of how good Trish is, I think Lita is just as good as that.
Yeah, definitely.
They're equals in that sense. And the fact is that Lita's matches with Trish and vice versa made them as good as they are today. So that's the way that it goes. I did made a little note here. I said, who better to induct Lita than Matt Hardy? Wait, that's a bit awkward, isn't it? Yeah, we shouldn't do that. Maybe Edge. No, that's really awkward as well. I guess Trish will be the one to induct. Yeah.
I don't know, because like I don't know, but I'm not going to take it down to sort of like gospel, but I did sort of see like rumours and all that lot, because it's only ever rumours, isn't it?
Yeah.
AJ.
I don't know. Well, that'd be weird. Wait, AJ, didn't Lita like date CM Punk and now AJ is? That's going to be really awkward, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's going to be kind of awkward, but like it's sort of known that like Lita was AJ's inspiration sort of thing. Yeah. So
we'll see how it goes. I think personally, if you're going to do it in terms of her career, you can't look beyond Trish. Personally.
We'll give it a month and we'll find out.
But we'll see how it goes. They often don't get build. You know, I remember when some of the people got inducted, they were making a big deal of who was going to induct them. It's not as much anymore, so maybe she might not have anyone induct her into the Hall of Fame. It may just be her getting inducted in. But I think she's well deserved. She is one of those women back in that era who really went all out. You look at some of the spots that she had in that promo, you'd never see any of the divas on the roster doing hurricane runners off ladders outside of a steel cage onto the floor below. You just wouldn't see that sort of shit. But
she was like the first hardcore women's wrestler as well, sort of thing, wasn't she?
She was she did a lot of stuff you just would not see, and had that horrendous landing on the outside in one of her matches against Trish Stratus, funny enough, where she actually won the belt. I think that was her last match, actually. I'm not sure, but there was a really bad spot that she had, and it looked like she just got wrecked. But do
you know the one that I always remember as sort of like probably the worst spill of Lita's career? She wasn't even involved in the match. It was the TLC match, Edge and Christian, Dudley's and Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Okay, yeah.
Where
is this the first one, or is it the one at WrestleMania?
The first one.
Okay, yeah.
Where Edge accidentally when Edge spears Lita, and she cracks her head off the ladder.
Yes, I remember that now. But
I was just like, oh.
But she got straight back up and went back to work after that, didn't she? So
yeah,
at the end of the day, if you wouldn't see that nowadays. I'm not saying that we need tougher women in WWE now. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about.
I think we just need bolder.
Yeah, we need ones that are willing to take more risks. So yeah, that was, when I say risks, calculated risks. I mean, be entertaining and be different. Lita was definitely different from any other diva that was on the roster at that time. So
true.
And she won herself a bunch of titles. Then she also came back with Edge as that whole section. She was mildly entertaining, I guess, with that when she wasn't wrestling as much. But yes, yeah, I think very well deserved, and good for her. She deserves it.
Damn straight.
Betty White. This was the main sort of segment involving Betty White. She had her tea with the New Age Outlaws.
Yep.
She foresees a prank against her because they were dipping some mysterious liquid into her tea. And as they looked away or they went to get something, she switched her tea with Billy Gunn's.
Switched cups, yep.
Yeah. Which obviously
I did see that and I was like, oh, will the New Age Outlaws ever grow up?
Yeah. The thing is, I was thinking about this, right? They basically, the mysterious liquid was laxative. You can probably guess that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if the New Age Outlaws actually succeeded in pranking her, they could have killed Betty White with that laxative. I'm pretty sure they could have.
Possibly.
So, maybe New Age Outlaws, maybe that's a shocking turn that they could have done,
New Age Outlaws have just gone on a real darker side. They're trying to kill old ladies.
Trying to kill old ladies, yeah. And it's up to the Usos to stop them, That's not PG. That's not PG, Matt. So
to the Oosmobile.
That's it. And then it had a cameo with Rikishi, It's the Splinter, Anyway, so yeah, that set up Billy Gunn anyway for the later segment of the match that was afterwards, because the Usos went against Ryback. We knew how this match was going to end as soon as we knew who was going to be
from a laxative joke to a laxative team.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Yeah, just segues nicely, isn't it? Road Dogg was great on commentary again. He was saying that they beat up the Usos' daddy years ago and they were going to do it to the new generation. I do like Road Dogg on commentary. He's very quick, witty. He shows the young'uns how to get it done. We look at the likes of when Big E Langston was on commentary. He wasn't.
The one thing I quite liked with the thing I quite like with Road Dogg on commentary is the fact that he's not too difficult. It's just like, Michael Cole, just shut up and listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I am the better guy here.
All the while, during this match, Billy Gunn was looking worse for wear.
Yeah.
And
bit of a dodgy belly.
Yeah. He looked like he had some serious stomach pains.
Yes,
so we didn't see as much of the match as maybe we would like because they were building up to...
I will admit, it's actually dark. I didn't know in my notes. It's just like... I liked how the Usos teased the New Age Outlaws, though. Sort of like, I think it was like Jay, before one of his strikes, he did the whole sort of like pop and lock that Road Dogg does.
Yeah.
But... I was paying a lot more attention to commentary than I was the match.
Yeah, That's it. The same was for me. The fact is that the camera work was a lot on the New Age Outlaws and their commentary rather than the match itself. So you could tell where a lot of this was going towards. They wanted this segment to be built around what the hell was going on with Billy Gunn and Road Dogg was saying rather than the match itself. It wasn't a great match, but it was okay. But I guess for what we saw of it, it was what it was. So the Usos win anyway, and Billy Gunn leaks out of his ass, man. Boot, boot. And he runs off holding his backside as the Rybax or laxative begins to wear on his insides. And contrary to kayfabe news, he did not die of dysentery, which I thought was quite a funny little story that they put up. Anyone who doesn't call kayfabe,
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that, yeah. Yeah, it was Billy Gunn dead of dysentery at age 50. No, he survived Betty White's revenge prank, I guess, but he will live to see another day. But hopefully he won't leak out of his ass, man, again.
Oh, it's be the worst thing because it's a big pet lips on his ass.
Yeah.
So,
he's talking shit. Maybe I don't know.
That's it.
we should.
That's why they don't let him talk.
We should probably sidestep away from this before we just get worse and worse and worse. We could be here for a very long time. We'll just start spewing like more.
Spewing. Can't help it.
It's turning into a bit of a shit podcast. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, so Ambrose had his open challenge, responded to by none other than the returning Mark Henry, which they've been building up to return.
Oh, it's like he's returning. Oh, there's an open United States Championship. Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. The look on Ambrose and Reigns' faces was classic. Ambrose just looked like, oh, bollocks, and Reigns was just laughing his head off.
Ambrose looked like Billy Gunn.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Shit.
And but I thought Reigns was funny. He did not find this any more as funny than could possibly be imagined. He thought this was the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, that adds to the whole face of it here. He thought this was brilliant. As you can imagine, it wasn't a squash match by any means. Ambrose got some assault in, but I mean he was dominated in this match.
Oh, to be fair, Ambrose did play squirmy for a lot of it though. It's just duck away, hide, run, go. It's just sort of like, no, this isn't the Ambrose that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, but you are against Mark Henry, I guess. So kind of.
No, I suppose so.
And like I said, it wasn't an entire squash match. He got some offensive in, but it wasn't a very long match anyway for him to do that. But he got the World's Strongest Slam put on him, and then Rollins came in for the save. Very important that Rollins did this and not Reigns. So Rollins came in for the save. DQ.
Well, Rollins is sort of playing peacekeeper between the pair of them, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Which I think would be quite good for his character if he snapped just eventually. Maybe went against both of them. Maybe it's not even Reigns that turns on him, it's Rollins. He's tired of trying to keep everything together and he wants to be the guy to come out.
Yeah, Ambrose, I'm sick of your over arrogant shit, and Reigns, I'm sick of you thinking you're, over arrogant shit as well.
Yeah. So I'd like that for Rollins. It gives him something else. So maybe that may be the case that he's trying to keep it together and he snaps. But so Ambrose still the champion. So we got the rare occurrence of the US title defense on this show. Next 4 months, who knows who would defend the belt against? I don't know. Maybe El Torito or something stupid like that. So, after this match came probably the best segment on the show. We had the Wyatts came out. They did their
we had the Mexican standoff.
Yeah, and every single literally they were on the outside, step by step. Each faction moved closer and closer to the ring. To the fact that they're on the ring looking at each other, and the fans were popping for every single movement from each of these guys. They were really into this. The way JBL was building this up on commentary was brilliant. Everyone wants to see these two factions just kill each other before one of them breaks up, and we're going to get that. So eventually the Wyatts did retreat. Bray Wyatt said that he was going to. Their war was not today, and then he was doing his usual Bray Wyatt stuff. I could not be more excited for their match at Elimination Chamber.
I want this match more than the Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, this is the match that I'm getting this pay-per-view for. This is if they give these guys enough time. Just think of it, all the great 6-man tag matches that each individual faction has had since their inception, and now you're going to put the two granddaddies of 6-man tag matches against each other. in a 6-man tag match. It's pretty much what every fan wants to see. It doesn't even matter that they're heel against heel. They want to see this match. They do. They want to see each other. These two factions just go absolutely mentally.
Well, they're both okay. Yeah, I mean they're both heel teams, but they're that sort of difficult, like that sort of awkward heel. Like Undertaker, everything about the Undertaker is heel. He comes out to the death march and it's all dark and gloomy and all this lot, and it will eat. And he's the Undertaker. He's the dead man, and everything's just sort of like screams bad. But he's like a massive face, and it kind of sits with the Wyatts and the Shield, sort of like the Shield.
So bad, you gotta love them, sort of thing.
Beats people up, and like the Wyatts are just really fucking creepy, but everyone loves them.
Yeah. Because they're entertaining.
That's it.
I think the Shield have come off more as faces than the Wyatts, because obviously they've got Roman Reigns to cheer for, and this guy is being more, like I said, more face than he ever has been before. So if you're ever gonna have the face and heel demographic,
I think there was one thing I definitely noticed in that moment. Like Ambrose has definitely taken a back seat for Reigns, because at one point it was like Ambrose was the leader. I know they were all like they were a team of individuals and all that lot, going like the core. But
Ambrose was the first.
Ambrose was the one to first step in.
Yeah,
and now it was Reigns in the center with Ambrose and Rollins on his flanks, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was Reigns that got up on the apron first, that got into the ring first.
Yeah, that's it. Because I mean, the most hottest prospect that they have in the Shield is Reigns. But I think it makes sense to do it that way, because at the start, no one knew a lot about Reigns. No one knew if he was going to be as good as he is now, or as a big of potential as he's got now. But like with it's a safe bet just to give Ambrose the mic and to lead them for at least a little while you figure out what these guys can do on the main roster. And they've come out brilliant, really, haven't they? When the Shield do eventually dissipate, when WrestleMania comes around, they will have to stand as probably one of the best 3-man groups ever in WWE. They've been booked very, very strongly, and
they've never had really. I wouldn't say they've never had a bad match, but all their. If it's been on pay-per-view, it's been worth buying.
Oh yeah, you look at even if it's not a 6-man tag match, they had
their TLC match.
Yeah, with they had a match. Yeah, is that the one against Ryback when he was a face?
Ryback and Hell No. Yeah,
yeah, that was like the first match they had, wasn't it? And that was just mental. But even you look at some of the matches that they had, like the tag team match that Reigns and Rollins had against the Usos. This was on a pre-show. That was voted one of the best matches of the year.
Definitely, yeah.
So yeah, even if it's not a tag team match, then it can still get done very well. I think these guys are ready to go singles. I really do. I think they've done all they can. If they're not ready now, they never will be. Personally, I think they're ready to make their next step. So, so this segment was really well made. I really like the way that they did this segment, and I'd like more of the same when it comes up to Elimination Chamber. And when these two guys go against each other, I want it to be a fucking bloodbath. I want these two to kill each other.
And then they keep referring to it's going to be a war. It's like, it better be a fucking war.
Yeah. If they treat it, if it's like a 5-minute match that ends really quickly, it's going to be such a dud. But if they give these guys maybe 30 minutes to go against each other, oh man, the things that they could do, it's going to be mad. So, WWE continue their Black History Month by looking at Bobo Brazil. This is before my time, so I don't
before
know
both of us. Yeah,
I will admit, I'm not just going to say, oh, this guy was great. I didn't know much about Bobo Brazil, but it looks like from their video package, he was quite an integral part of the rise of black wrestlers during that time and trying to beat down the walls of segregation and racism. So if that is the case, then kudos to the guy. I'm a big fan of overall equality between races and genders. So yeah, fair play on the guy, and he did look the part anyway. He looked like a very strong guy. So
that's it. Well, the one thing I quite like is you look back on sort of like the old figures like that, and it seemed his finisher was a headbutt.
Yeah, and it was treated as the most devastating thing in the world.
Yeah, it's like, and then after that it was like, oh, and the finisher was a leg drop or a body slam. And it's sort of the way wrestling's going, because now it's just like, oh, but people keep kicking out of the body slam. Well, I guess it's just a regular move now,
Yeah.
which it is.
Now you have to do like a 1080 spinning corkscrew giant attack off a ladder to finish.
Forearm,
someone off.
yeah.
Yeah. It's the way it evolved, isn't it? People want more flashier moves, and the way more people innovate and give you those flashier moves, then people are going to want to do them, and that's the way that wrestling evolved. But yeah, it is quite interesting when you look back at that time, and you've got like a suplex as a finishing move, and everything. So yeah, quite interesting. But yeah, real kudos to the guy. Like I said, I don't know too much about Baby Brazil, so I'm not going to go on about it. But yeah, fair enough. Anyone that did their did good for in terms of breaking down the walls of race is good in my book, especially in wrestling. So AJ Lee, Alicia Fox, and Xana, who was known as Foxana from AJ Lee last week, and I still will call them that.
Yep.
Foxana and Rypaxel. Cameron from the Funkadactyls and the Bellas. Naomi's injured. She had her eye socket damaged. From
by
Oksana during that move that we said looked pretty decent. So we take that back. If it damaged her, then obviously she doesn't need to be doing that. She needs to learn how to deliver that move or not do it anymore. So we're back to Motley Diva tag matches though. So
yeah,
we praised the Divas last week for having a singles match and one of fairly decent quality as well. Cameron gets the victory here, Matt. So
yeah, she did, didn't she?
Now I listened to the Steve Austin podcast. He actually did something about the Tough Enough crew, and he actually interviewed a few of them, and he spoke about Cameron in this.
Did he?
Yeah, he did, and he said that he doesn't have anything against the woman. He thinks that she could be a big star, but as a personality, not in the ring. And I would agree with him. I think that she's a good-looking girl.
When did he?
Could be
Are you on about the one where he was talking with like Martin and things like that?
Yeah.
Martin, Jeremiah, and one of the other guys.
Yeah.
I don't remember him mentioning Cameron.
Yeah,
I probably zoned out.
Yeah. So, yeah, he basically said that he thinks that she can be a big star, but he did make it known that he thinks that she can't get it done in the ring, or she can't be a big star if she does it in the ring. And I would be inclined to agree with him. You could have anyone as a manager; it doesn't require a lot. And like I said, she's a good-looking girl. She's got a lot of energy, and she wants to entertain. She can do the dancing and stuff. Yeah, I know you would say that anyway, but she can't wrestle. She can't. She couldn't wrestle back then. She doesn't respect the art of wrestling, so her having beating people in the ring and stuff, I just don't see any point to it, really.
No.
And Matt just has no love lost at all for it, really. So
That's it.
she was in the ring with one of her heroes, Matt. She was in there with Alicia Fox.
I know.
I mean, he would have been there, man. That would have been
what a day for her.
Yeah. So.
Oh well.
Wow.
I did quite like it though. Did you spot the Diva botch?
Yeah. They tried to do like a. Like almost like a Hardy style jump off the back of
Yeah, like I think it was like Nikki that boxed and Bree jumped off for a splash and just ended up like motorboating Oksana.
Yeah,
which is like,
she blamed it on her shoes on Twitter, but it looked like to me that she didn't even get her foot right to begin with. So
yeah,
no, I don't think it's your shoes. I think you just missed it. You just botched it. Just say you botched it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be on Botchamania.
This is probably definitely. I think this is probably the most I actually heard out of the girlfriend, like watching it, because it's just all I got was like Skag Patrol and she's shit and terrible and she doesn't know what she's doing and it's awful, and it's just like, cool. Yeah. I love you.
Yeah. There's a keeper there, Matt. That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
So yeah, that is what it is. If we're back to the Multi Diva tag match, listen, WWE are going to do these Multi Diva tag matches no matter what, and they're going to give them no time. This is the way that they want to book it, and this is the way it's going to go. I'm beyond ragging on them for this now. It's just the way it is. It's poor, it's horrible, it's not good wrestling, but it is what it is. They're going to keep doing
what
it.
We've got.
So. We had another Alexander Rusev promo.
Yes.
And this, obviously, with Lana, his handler as well. They were talking about vitality, intelligence, and power, the super athlete. And then Rusev basically said it all in Bulgarian, whatever. Yeah, I'm quite excited for this guy to debut when he comes back. I think it could be something a lot bigger than the likes of Xavier Woods and all these other people that come up from NXT and just get caught in the shuffle.
Do you know the one thing that I'm getting a bit of a Kozlov vibe out of him?
I think Rusev's a far better wrestler than Kozlov ever was.
Yeah, but you sort of get that. Do you not get that sort of vibe out of him?
Yeah. He could be what Kozlov was
meant to be.
could have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
This big foreign destroyer that comes in and gets
Like
a good
Umaga.
response or whatever. Yeah. But I think the problem with Kozlov is he just wasn't gifted enough in the ring.
Yeah.
I remember he had probably one of the most shocking matches against Triple H I've ever seen. It was so boring. It was it was one of the most. It was one of those matches that they didn't botch. They didn't do anything wrong. The match itself just stank. It was horrible. It was
it was a sound match. It just fell.
Yeah, it was just really, really bad. And you look at the guy now; he's not even with the company anymore, and he was reduced to comedy skits for the end of his career. Anyway, I don't want to rag too much on Kozlov, but there was a lot of potential drop there. If he was better in the ring, he was never that good in the ring. Personally.
Yeah.
But Alexander Rusev, from what I saw at the Rumble and what I've seen of a few matches on NXT, he is a lot better than that. So, fair play to him. And like I said, his handler is nothing bad to look at either. So.
We eagerly await.
Yeah. Kane came out to apologise for his actions against Daniel Bryan. He even though apparently he was put on leave, so this seemed very odd that he was going to be coming out. Before he could really get through his promo, Daniel Bryan came out and basically just attacked him.
What a surprise.
Which I think, in all fairness, this kind of mini rivalry makes more sense than CM Punk feuding with Kane, so if that's the case, then, fair enough.
At least Daniel Bryan and Kane have history.
Exactly. You can draw off that history on a really good video package with these guys, that they used to be friends, even though Kane's saying they were never friends, and they won the tag team championships. They were the tag team champions, Matt. The pair of them. No one was, not one of them, but the pair of them.
No, I am the tag team champion.
Yeah. So at least the pair of them now seem to realise that you need two people to become tag team champions, I guess. Maybe they realise that eventually.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was like director of operation, director of daily operations or something like that, whatever Kane's title is. He understands now that, tag team.
Yeah.
I understand now. Sorry, Daniel.
This kind of set. I don't know if they're going to do the match at Elimination Chamber. They still got one more Raw, so they could still announce that, I guess. But it, like I said, this makes more sense than CM Punk going against Kane because of the.
Well, they won't get it. We won't get an Elimination Chamber, will we?
Of course not, because he's in the chamber. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, or maybe Kane will get involved somewhere, and they'll do a match with. Hopefully, not building up to a Bryan Kane match at WrestleMania. Oh, that could be. I want a match between the two, but not on Mania. I think that's a really bad way to waste Bryan at Mania. No offense to Kane, but Kane is a stalwart in the company. He'll always be respected, but he's never been as hot as Daniel Bryan is now.
Nah.
So yeah, hopefully they don't go along with that anyway. But. Cena and Orton, this is the final match on the show. They had a lot of time, Cena and Orton, in this match. They really gave them a lot of time in this show to deliver the final match in their chapter. The match itself, I guess, was decent enough, but the problem is that we've already seen it. We've seen it already.
Yeah, it was an average match.
Yeah. There were some big spots, I guess, but the thing is, these guys can't electrify.
That top rope DDT was quite good, and I did quite like Orton's just you've never seen that before, just go crazy Orton, but meh.
This is we had the match that they had. I think they wanted this to be the match they had at Royal Rumble, but they gave this match more build up really than the Royal Rumble match anyway.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, we've seen this match. We've seen this a lot of the time. I don't mind seeing matches if they're really exciting, and like I said, I could probably still have matches with Reigns and Rollins against the Brotherhood all day long because of the matches that they had against each other were phenomenal.
Definitely. Yeah.
But that's because they're entertaining matches. Cena and Orton matches weren't anything really to be excited about in the beginning anyway. So we've seen these guys do this match already. So we weren't that excited for it. And like I said, it was decent enough. You said it was average. I can't say it was much better than average personally. And I thought there was something very wrong with Cena coming out at the start and saying that this match will be the one that defines WWE's future. I don't think so. I think your future is in the hands of Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns personally.
Yeah.
So if you have a match with those two, then you can say that match defines the future of WWE, not these two. It might define, I don't know, whoever gets pushed more this year, Cena or not, I don't know, but I don't care either really with these guys.
No.
Orton can pull off great matches. Cena can pull off great matches. Just doesn't seem to do it with each other. They don't have the same sort of chemistry as, let's say, Cena has with CM Punk, the great matches that he had against CM Punk, or Orton has with Christian, where he had the great matches with Christian. They just don't seem to have the same chemistry with each other, which is bizarre with the amount of matches they've wrestled. You look at the fact that Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, they had hundreds of matches against each other, but they got better each time that they wrestled each other, and this is not the same sort of thing.
No.
But then again, I would not put Cena and Orton in the same in-ring ability as either Ric Flair or Ricky Steamboat. That's just me.
Sure.
So, that was Raw, Matt. What was your overall thought of Raw?
Better than last week.
I think this one had a bit more meat and bones to it. There were a lot more segments, a lot more...
There were less throwaway matches as well.
Yeah, last week was very throwaway. This one had a little bit more of note. I would rank this Raw higher than last week's Raw, even though the matches probably, weren't that fantastic. I think that the Daniel Bryan Orton match last week was much better than the main event we got this week with Orton and Cena, so that's one thing you can put above it. But I think in terms of the overall show, then I think this was easier to the eye, I think, as an overall show than last week.
I still don't truly understand why Betty White was even there.
She was there because I guess it gets some people to get involved in the show. I don't know, but like I said, she was there to promote her show. I can't remember the name of the show. It wasn't very well promoted. There was no even trailers of it being done. So
I would have thought they'd have at least shown a sort of like a 2-minute VT about it. It's just like, this is what she's here to do. Wait,
you don't have to do 2 minutes. Like even 15 seconds of maybe the funniest skit in the first episode or something, just to get us wanting to watch the show. But I don't know. They didn't do that. So in the end, her being there, in terms of her and raising her profile for her show, did pretty badly. I don't remember the show. I don't remember the name of the show, and I don't want to either. To be fair, so
no, I won't go seeking it out.
No. So we have been podcasting for just over an hour. I think we have enough time for this. I don't think it'd be a very long topic this week. I think we can fit this in. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I just think we can get.
I think we
this
can
in.
do it. I
have a simple one-word answer.
Okay. Well, I'll ask you the questions then, and we'll go into it deeply. So, our topic for this week, as you know, we do topics every now and then. If we can't think of a topic, we do a Superstar Spotlight. Last week we did Rey Mysterio. I think, actually, what we'll do one in, one out. So, we'll do... that just sounded like double penetration there. That's a bit odd. So we do on a weekly rotation. That's probably the best way of doing it. So 1 week we'll do a topic, 1 week we'll do Superstar Spotlight. We will answer your questions when you send them in. We're just building them up for a big, huge question show, and then we'll do that as an extra. So our topic for this week is whether women will whether there will be full gender equality inside WWE, and if they'll ever stop being used as set symbols. And we'd like to ask multiple questions in these topics, so we'll answer all of them. So we'll go back to them. But the last question as well is if we ever see a woman face a man for the WWE Heavyweight Championship in the future. Your answer is a resounding
no.
Okay, would you like to explain?
Well, I don't think we'll actually see it happen for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, mainly because it is the pinnacle. And I think like I'll go for the example when China won the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, she held a man's belt.
Yeah.
Sort of paraphrase or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was, if anything, it was just a means to get China over as a bigger contender.
And it was very gimmicky anyway, wasn't it?
It was very gimmicky as well. But it was sort of like, oh, look at China. Look, she's so big, she may as well be a man, sort of thing.
Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah.
But I couldn't see a female versus a male tag match. I mean, especially considering we don't have them anymore, but mixed tag matches. You tag the guy tags himself out, the other guy has to tag himself out.
Yeah. The way that I look at it, right, when it comes to women facing men, is that you don't have that sort of stuff in Olympics, which is, you've got the Winter Olympics going on at the moment. I've been watching a lot of that.
Yeah.
You don't have because feasibly, this is with the deepest respect to women. Like I said, I'm a big advocate for gender equality, but when it comes to sport, it would be unfair to put a woman against a man because of and it goes both ways. Because, for instance, let's say in some sports, the women are slighter, they're smaller, they're not as chunky as the guys. In terms of biology and
just sheer physicality.
Yeah. So they may go down courses quicker, they may finish quicker than a guy, or other ways maybe a guy would run faster, which they normally do. I mean, they've got more power and everything like that.
I mean, sort of just to consider like rugby, for example.
It's not sort of the
Like if
go on.
Like if a guy was like say like a New Zealand All Black, like one of the big ones, you know, like one of their forwards or something like that, and he was to tackle a girl.
I personally don't.
It could end up quite badly.
I don't agree personally, because I think that when it comes to stuff like that, right? I think a woman can hit as hard in rugby as a guy can. I know I've seen some female rugby players; they could definitely do that.
Oh yeah, my sister's a female rugby player.
Yeah. But when it comes down to the actual, like, in terms of making things fair, just because the way that women and men are built differently, just, you know, genetically,
sort of like the size and weight advantage.
Yeah, exactly, and the fact, you know, that as humans we are built differently if we're a man or a woman, in terms of our stature and other things, you know, in regards to that.
Yeah,
it makes it fairer to have women go against women and men to go against men, because it's an even.
To draw it back into sort of wrestling and that lot, but like, would you really, like, John Cena has been able to hit his attitude adjustment on everyone.
Yeah.
From, you know, down from sort of Daniel Bryan as the small guys up to Big Show for the big guys.
Yeah.
Do you really see AJ being able to hit Big Show with an AA? There's a severe one. I'm not saying, like, obviously you wouldn't use moves like that. But
like, you wouldn't see Rey Mysterio do that to Big Show either.
No, it's like I'm trying to get really sort of trying to figure out the best way to put it across.
Yeah, I think I know what you're trying to say is that, like, if you look at, like, for instance, like AJ would be able to do her, if she did like a suplex finisher, let's say she did that, she'd be able to do that on a, she maybe even be able to do that maybe on Karma, who's a big guy, if it was helped, you know. I mean, I'm probably going a little bit too ahead of myself, yeah. But, you know, you look at that the same way as John Cena doing that on Big Show. You have to look at it in the same sort of breadth, because that's the way it goes. The way that I would like to see it done, personally, I don't think you can have a woman face a man for the WWE Heavyweight Championship, just because of the fact that you know, I think that makes people quite uncomfortable in terms of watching that content. Let's say that it's like a squash match and the guy's beating the shit out of the woman. That's pretty. You have to book that really carefully.
Oh yeah.
So I would like a lot. Obviously, you and me have been advocates for giving a lot more respect towards the time that they give to the women athletes that they have, the female athletes that they have, and obviously giving a bit more respect to the belt, you know, that they have, because at the moment it's a bit of a joke. But in terms of one day maybe having full gender equality and a man and a woman facing each other in the main event for WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship, or the WWE Championship, whatever. We're so far away from that anyway, because not only do the WWE have to change, and obviously, you know, the way that they look at their product, but the fans have to change. Yeah, the world has to change. We're not quite there yet.
So we're
quite very away from that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when they look at it, I think they should look at it the same way that the Olympics look at it, that the women go against the women, the men go against the men, because that way it's ultimately fair no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that women can't beat guys. I'm sure that they can. You know, I'm not saying that. In fact, in often in other sports, I'm sure that the female golfers can beat the male golfers. Sometimes the female football players can beat the male ones. I'm not saying that they can't. We have to dance around the subject, don't we? Really, but it's sort of like it makes it ultimately fair, not only for the women but for the men, because it might give the women an unfair advantage against the guys because of the way that their bodies are built and everything. Like I said, especially when it comes to stuff like the Olympics, or maybe like the, you know, for instance, like with the luge and stuff like that. I know that the men normally go down faster, but use that as an example. Maybe the women go down quicker because they're of a slighter, you know, they can get more aerodynamic and stuff, and that gives them an unfair advantage over the guys, so it wouldn't be fair to them. So in the interest of ultimate fairness, I guess you go, if you're looking at it strictly as a sport, WWE isn't a sport, it is entertainment, and because of that you have to really, if you're going to have a man going against a woman, you need to be fucking careful. You really do, because otherwise you come off as, oh, this is a show for rednecks, and you're basically giving them the fantasy of having this guy beat the shit out of this woman, or even have a woman beat the shit out of a guy. If she, let's say the current product as it is now, if you have like Cameron beat up John Cena, that's going to look really bad on John Cena, because of the way she can't wrestle very well, you know.
Well, it's not even just the simple fact. It's like, even if it's not for the fact that she can't wrestle, it's just a simple fact. It's just like he got beat up by a girl.
Yeah, and the like John Cena's ripped to shit. He's 6 foot. He's 280 pounds. Cameron's probably she's quite small. They're meant to be smaller and thinner because they want them to be more sex symbols, and look good rather than good wrestlers in WWE. So if he gets beaten like in a legitimate match, gets beaten clean by someone like Cameron or any of the Fangdactyls or the Bellas or anything, it's gonna look really bad on John Cena. It's this big hulking behemoth.
Well,
beaten by this tiny
Cena
little
gets
woman.
beat by a Bella every night.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's the wrong analogy. Personally, I mean, because I'm a big fan of equality, whether it be race, sexual interest, or gender, I'm a big fan of overall equality, and I always have been. The idea of having a woman face a guy for the World Heavyweight Championship, the idea of having like, let's say of it now, maybe we have someone like Karma come back, someone really big and physical comes back and faces Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. That sounds like it would be actually really cool and to be part of something that monumental, but the problem is that the fan base isn't caught up to that yet. I don't think the fan base is ready for that. I think that you'd have too many people. We have people in the crowd chanting "We the People" because that's like a whole sort of racist stuff. So if like John Cena uses a big move on a woman in the ring or something on that like that, and it ends badly, then the fans aren't ready to look at her as an equal to the guys yet. They're not ready for that. They can't see that. You have to first educate your audience to think every single woman on that roster could beat every single guy on that roster, and vice versa. You have to do that. And WWE is light years away from doing that. They really are. They have to make it that their sole plan for a good 5 years for that even to start coming.
Besides, I mean, on a sort of like on another thought of that, you can't get rid of the women's division. When will I go piss?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we're very critical of the divas here, but we understand there's good wrestlers that they have on the roster. It's just that they don't use them very well, and that's part of the problem. WWE doesn't look at them as. I remember Michelle McCool did an interview, and they did like a spot with her and someone else where she DDT'd someone on the stage, and when they got back, I think they got bollocked because they were making the men look bad. Because they weren't being as entertaining as them, And then Chris Jericho came to her defense and said, look, if the guys can't step up, that's their fault, not them. But it's the way that WWE look at it. The WWE will not let the women or the divas get more airtime than any of the guys on their roster. That's the way that they look at it. They're very, that's the way that they want it to be. So WWE will have to change the way they think, they'll have to change the way their audience thinks, and then they'll have to educate the audience to believe that all their roster is equal, and that's going to take years. It's going to take so many years for that to happen, for that to eventually happen. Just as a final note though, like I said, we've always said before that we're big fans. One of our friends is a female wrestler, so
That's it.
We couldn't sit here and just rag on female wrestlers. We believe that they're just as good as guys in terms of entertainment standpoints, but in WWE they're so far away from that. They really are. So
easily
in terms of wrestling quality, there isn't, like I said, a woman can be just as good as a guy. I mean, listen, AJ Lee and Emma Page are far better in the ring than, let's say, Great Khali. So what I mean.
Oh yeah. Well, anything's better in the ring than Great Khali.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes backwards and forwards. So it's a very interesting subject. I'd actually like to see your guys' thoughts on that and the way that it can be done, and the way that you can maybe build towards having like full gender equality in WWE, or whether it's something you don't want to see. Maybe you want to see women as sex symbols. That's the way you like having your entertainment. Regardless of the way that you think, we'd love to hear from you. So send us a comment or a message, or ask us a question about it. We'll be more than happy to go through that again and take your question into account and kind of bounce back off that question and come back off more. Is there anything else?
Reconsider an opinion, maybe.
Yeah, if you come across as eloquently, then we may have to look at it from a different standpoint. So, yeah, we fully invite you to send us through some messages. And is there anything else you want to add for the episode this week, Matt?
No, I've got nothing else left to add.
We had a big bumper episode this week, so you guys got a lot of podcasts for your ears this week. Thanks a lot for listening. to the podcast. If you're listening for the first time, why don't you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our episodes in the future. Normally we upload every weekend, and we do sometimes every now and then some extra episodes during the week. Believe me, you don't want to miss them, so you're going to want to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now, and then you'll join along the ride, like our other subscribers that have joined along the Let's Talk Wrestling ride right from the very start. You can hear along here. As we said before, ask us any questions that you'd like to, anything that you'd like us to talk about, or anything that you maybe disagree with and you want to join the debate. Send us a message or leave a comment. Either is good. And if you do want to download the podcast into audio format, just send us a message and I'll get that uploaded and I'll put it in the description for you guys as it is there. I won't put it, I think most people want to watch it on YouTube anyway, so I know there will be people eventually that want to listen to it in audio format, and I'll be more than happy to accommodate that when that time comes. So is there anything else, Matt, you want to add at all?
No, I've got very little left to add.
We're off to go chase the rare occurrence of the next US title defense, so we're going to head off to Serengeti again.
That's it.
Maybe we'll find
get your hat, or you'll go.
Yeah, I've got my water ready, so we're going to head off to the safari, try and find, maybe find the fabled US title change, hands. The new US champion. Maybe even find that's even rarer than the US title defense. So.
That's true.
Very interesting. So,
yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you enjoyed that intro at the start. Anyway, thanks a lot for listening, and we'll catch you again next week.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye bye.